Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, in the Acculon webinar series. Today we're going to be talking about optical applications. Thank you for joining us. My name is Edward Hughes. I'm the Chairman and CEO of Acculon, and joining me today is Mario Gattuso, a Senior Business Development Manager at Acculon. Just a couple of things from a logistical perspective. This webinar will be recorded. It will be posted such that we will send you a link later today with a link to not only the recording but also to the presentation, so you can forward to your colleagues if any of them couldn't make it or if you think it could be interesting for them. It will also be interactive. Please ask questions by going to the GoToMeeting question tab. Type those questions in, and we'll leave as much time as possible at the end of this brief webinar to try and tackle those questions. So our goal as a company is that we enable our customers to make better products by being an innovative, responsive, and fast developer and producer of best-in-class surface modification technologies. Together, we create winning products. The agenda today is I'll give you a quick overview of Acculon. We'll talk a bit about some of the technology platforms that we have, talk about some surface modification options relating to optical, go through some specific applications of where Acculon can help you with certain optical applications, and also talk about some of the applications that we don't do from an optical standpoint, discuss our lab services offering, and then try and tackle as many questions as we can as we go through the webinar. Acculon is involved in a broad variety of industries. As you can see by this collage of pictures here, we're involved in not only optical applications, but also consumer products, consumer electronics, medical devices, oil and gas, and a number of industrial applications as well. As a company, we were founded in 2004. And we have an expertise which is relating to developing and producing surface solutions to modify a broad variety of surfaces, metals, glass, polymers. We functionalize those surfaces with our treatments to make them hydrophobic or superhydrophobic, oleophobic, hydrophilic, anti-fingerprinting, or even adhesion promotion. Our treatments are always thin. They're easy to apply. We don't do anything in a vacuum chamber. Often the treatments can be applied without a cure. They're safe, they're non-toxic, and we offer a number of green options as well. How we differentiate ourselves is that we not only produce proprietary innovative treatments, but also a willingness to work with customers to solve problems. Now, we don't like to just throw a treatment over the proverbial fence and hope that it works for you. Instead, we like to get involved with our customers and try and solve their specific issues. Our business is organized in three areas: electronics, oil and gas, specialty, which includes a number of things, medical and industrial applications. And our business model is predominantly we produce chemistry. So we produce chemistry, ship that chemistry to your manufacturing operation or to your contract manufacturing operation. In some cases, we do treat parts in-house, but the vast majority of what we do is we produce chemistry and sell that chemistry. Now, we have over 35 patents granted. I think we're about 38 US patents granted now. We've worked with thousands of applications, invested hundreds of thousands of hours, really becoming experts in surface modification. During that journey, we have now created over 100 products. And we've built a team here at Acculon that are smart, numerous chemists with PhDs and master's degrees, electrical and mechanical engineers. It's a smart group of people that are working in this company. We're based in San Diego, California. That's our headquarters, where our primary lab and manufacturing operation is. We have offices in Shanghai, Singapore, Dallas, and Amsterdam. And in Asia, we use a broad number of distributors to help us service the Asian market. So as I say, our business is all about surface modification. So why do surfaces matter? Well, there are a number of things that can create problems in optical applications, and these type of surface coating technologies can be used to address these. Whether it's fogging or moisture buildup that negatively impacts the optical performance, whether it's cleaning an optical surface is time-consuming, expensive, or even impossible. In some cases, you'll see you can't take the device out to clean it. It could be that fingerprints negatively impact the performance, or it could be a functional issue of the liquid behavior on the surface. In other cases, we deal with contamination or fouling materials that negatively impact the behavior of the optics. In some cases, there is opportunity to improve the adhesive and bonding characteristics as well by looking at, basically providing a boost to adhesive between different layers. In some cases, we see that the surface is not lubricious enough, or wettability of the surface is not ideal. So we have developed a series of platforms, technology platforms that address this. The original platform relating to self-assembled monolayer phosphonates, which is acronym SAMP, was what we started the company with. We built on that polymeric organometallics, transistor metal complexates, surface polymer growth, and more recently a variety of hydro and oleophilic treatments as well. So when we go through and talk to a customer, we try to understand what it is the substrate is seeing and what kind of substrate it is. So firstly, if it's a oxide containing substrate, which could be a ceramics, semiconductors, or glass, we have a variety of options to create repellency or to create adhesion or to provide hydrophilic applications to that. If it's a polymeric surface or a non-oxide containing surface, then we have some options again for repellency, not so much on adhesion, and we can help with making them hydrophilic as well. So we've built a series of expertise and platforms all around surface modification. It could be hydrophobic treatments, adhesion promotion, water barrier protection, oleophobic, particle treatments, anti-fingerprinting, or hydrophilic. Optics touch a variety of these, so it could be the oleophobic, hydrophilic, or hydrophobic, and adhesion promotion. So let's talk about some of these and just make sure we're clear on what it is we're talking about when we talk about repellency and other types of treatments. So for repellency treatments, we have a variety of surface coatings that functionalize these optical substrates to make them repellent, whether it's hydrophobic or oleophobic. So if you are hydrophobic, the goal is to repel water. And obviously, you measure hydrophobic by water contact angles. And if you're above 100 degrees water contact angle, you can create what's called a hydrophobic surface. If you're looking to repel oils, then you're looking for oil contact angles, and above 60 degrees oil to contact angles create a oleophobic surface. These treatments are optically clear, and so it leaves the look and feel of the surface intact, and we have a pretty broad variety of substrates that we can cover. In terms of repellency, one area that we measure from a durability standpoint is looking at abrasion resistance. And so you can see in this particular case, you can see a substrate was treated, and we're measuring water contact angles and oil contact angles. Actually, sorry, this in particular case is just oil contact angles. And you can see the Acculon oleophobic treatment is stable after 100,000 abrasion cycles, whereas in some cases we've got a vacuum deposition competitor, and you can see that that's dropped off then. So, this is how we measure abrasion. When we look at hydrophilic treatments, you're looking really for the opposite of hydrophobicity. You're looking for basically where the water contact angle is very low. So the water wets out and spreads uniformly across the surface. So as you can see in the image on the right-hand side, the untreated parts, these water droplets that have died, basically they got a little bit of a shape to them. That's an untreated surface, whereas on the left-hand side, a treated surface, they basically sheet out, and it's what we call water wet. So that'll give a clear sheet of water across that surface. Again, these treatments are optically clear, so they don't have any impact on the surface appearance or feel. And often for anti-fog applications, you want something where water basically wets out as opposed to beating up. And again, these are durable treatments. So here is an image of a contact angle on the left-hand side where you can see, a water droplet beating up, and that's creating a hydrophobic surface. And the hydrophilic is the opposite, where it is a very low contact surface. So on the graph on the right-hand side, you can see Acculon's hydrophilic treatments will often get below 10 degrees water contact angle. Another area that we do a little bit of is help improve adhesive and bonding characteristics of oxide-containing surfaces. And here we're trying to basically functionalize a substrate to prevent delamination or adhesive failure. And by adding material as a primer, you can basically, potentially reduce the thickness instead of the traditional roughening. And again, we can do it with a variety of substrates. For our anti-fingerprint coatings, these are very interesting and doing very well. These are optically clear again, and what we're trying to do is create a surface that is basically easy to clean and reduce the visibility, of that fingerprint. So it can be cleaned, with a dry wipe cloth, etc. And again, the importance here is that we are dramatically reducing the visibility of that surface. This is a technology we're proud of. It's something we introduced just about 2 years ago, and this year we just won a 2020 Global SMT Technology Award, which is terrific. It's a prestigious award for this category of products that we have for the Acculon anti-fingerprint technology. So very cool, and that was just announced earlier this week. In terms of our application methodologies, it's a variety of ways that we can do this. These treatments are designed to be highly scalable, for high volume commercial applications. They're all applied via a wet chemical process, which means we're not using these vacuum deposition chambers. You don't need to do batch processing. And you can use a variety of techniques. It can be dip applied, it can be spray applied, wipe applied, or even in some cases, particularly in electronics, we do selective deposition and patterning on that. And we have a pretty significant in-house capability that's really designed for basically creating the process for our customers such that they can do this. So whether we're looking at automated spray equipment, or we're looking at the Nordson equipment for spray dispense or jet, or the dipping equipment, we can do this and help validate what that process is. So let's now talk about some of the areas that Acculon actually works in optics. And it's a relatively small part of our business. And what we try to do is work on areas which, these problems haven't been solved very well by our competition. And so we're trying to find areas where, we can really stand out and offer differentiated products. So we do a number of things in anti-fog. We do a number of areas for medical devices, for sapphire, which is traditionally a pretty hard material for our competition to get to react with, and we do a number of things in oil and gas sensors. So areas where we don't really focus on, because to a large extent, it's either not a very good business proposition for us, or it's already been solved, or if you're talking about organic coatings, which is what we do, it may not work. So we don't really work much in the consumer eyewear space, on display screens. There are alternative technologies for us, and we do very, very thin coatings. And so when a lot of the consumer electronics companies are looking at steel wool type abrasions, etc., that basically damage the underlying surface. And so when you do a thin coating like ours, then that's not going to survive. Similarly, if you're looking for automotive or exterior glass, where there's intense UV over a long period of time, again, that's not really an area that we do. There are other companies out there that do that. So let's talk about some of the things that we do in a little bit more detail. So anti-fog is kind of an interesting one. Where you're looking for optical clarity in wet or humid environments. And we have a number of surface treatments that, are a perfect fit for that. So often customers come to us and say, we want basically a hydrophobic treatment on that because, water is coming down, it's ruining the optics on our security camera or something like that. And what we found, actually, hydrophobicity is not the answer. You don't want to repel water from that surface, because those treatments beat up and basically stick on the glass and create optical aberrations. So what is better is hydrophilic, where basically it wets out, and that security camera or whatever device you're looking for is wanting to basically keep that optics intact. So we can provide a number of different hydrophilic solutions to a variety of optical areas for anti-fog. Medical devices and diagnostics. Again, looking for functionalizing those devices or diagnostics to improve the performance. In some cases, you're looking for repellent treatments here. In other cases, you're looking for hydrophilic treatments. It really depends on what type of performance you're looking for. When you get into diagnostics and nanosensors, again, it's, we're looking to functionalize the optical components, and it could be optimizing fluid and droplet behavior through a particular array to improve the analysis. So, we'll use hydrophilic treatments to increase the surface wettability. If that's the issue, we'll use repellent treatments to increase contact angles to get more consistently behavior of the droplets. So again, we'll go through a process of trying to understand, what it is you're trying to do, and then find the right treatments to fit for that. For sapphire and precision optics, these are generally quite hard materials for many companies to functionalize. We have a number of treatments that do that. So that's kind of a little bit of a unique difference we have in some of the technologies that we have. We can create repellency both in terms of oleophobicity and hydrophobicity, and that will allow for, if it's a sensor or something like that, to reduce the cleaning, the frequency of cleaning in extremely difficult environments where it's hard to access the probe or the sensor. In other cases, if you're looking for hydrophilic functionality, again, it could be a humid or wet environment, and you want to keep that optical lens clear so you can see through that. We can do that, and we can also functionalize it if you're looking to improve bonding of something to that sapphire surface around the edge. We do quite a bit of space along these lines in the industrial and oil marketplace, where we're basically treating optical sensors to keep oil away from them, so that as you're measuring, the sensor and the probe is monitoring what's going on. The optic windows are clear, and that allows you to keep that sensor or probe in place for a much longer period of time, because you don't have to bring it out for cleaning. Which, if you're taking the oil industry, obviously bringing it out for cleaning in downwell or in some industrial cases is quite difficult. And what we're doing, obviously, is keeping the water and the oil away from fouling it. And obviously, those environments, particularly downwell, it's a particularly abrasive environment, and you need very robust coatings. I mean, that's why they use sapphire in the first place, because it's a very strong material. And obviously, you need a very robust coating that goes on the top of that as well. So let's now talk a little bit about how we work with our customers. So our goal is to basically, help you hit your target. And so rather than just, throw some material at you, we like to go through a little bit more of an involved process where we spend some time up front really trying to understand the customer requirements. Often people will send their particular optics into us, and we'll conduct some experiments here at our lab. We'll analyze and characterize the performance of that, giving you oil or water contact angles, giving you abrasion data. We then send those parts back to you. You can test those. You can provide feedback. There may be some optimization. You're looking to increase the oleophobicity, or you're looking to improve the anti-fog properties, whatever it is. So we'll work with you to optimize that. And that'll end in a selection and a recommendation for what products are right for you, that then you can go to a customer plant trial. And, we've done our job when we understood our requirements, then that allows you to, hit the target. So it's a bit more in-depth process than just kind of, as I say, throwing a liter of product over at you and hoping that it works. And as a company, we've built up a pretty strong combination of hard and what I call soft IP. So we have the hard, the patents. We have developed many trade secrets. We have tested and treated thousands of applications. We have a great partnership with University of California, San Diego, and the labs that they have there that gives us access to millions of dollars of equipment. So if we don't have the equipment, as you can see our main lab on the right-hand side in this image, if we don't have the right equipment here at Acculon, then we can usually access that at UCSD. We've spent hundreds of thousands of hours solving surface problems. And we've invested millions of dollars in building capabilities and expertise, to basically, help you make better products. We've also invested quite a bit of time and money now in improving kind of the offerings that we have to make them more sustainable. us and many customers have set goals of improving their their sustainability, and so we've developed a suite of products that are VOC exempt. All our products are PFOA free. We like to use eco-friendly packaging and waste reduction. We try to be as efficient as possible for reducing transportation-related emissions. And as a company as well, we like to try and be as sustainable as possible and be as efficient as possible in our energy use. And it could be as simple as retrofitting all our 800 lamps, bulbs in the headquarters here. So we try to do the right things for the environment and do the right things for our customers as well. So our conclusion is that we are a platform technology company that makes customers' products better. Today we focused on optics, but we work in a pretty broad variety of areas, and we are what we'd like to think of as surface solution experts. We have a strong history of working with customers to solve problems. It's really we find that once we've helped work with a customer solve problems, then often our technology is spec'd in for many years, and that's an exciting way that we want to work. We've developed a broad portfolio of products, including many more sustainable options. And we've got a strong set of IP, testing capabilities, and in-house expertise to help solve some problems. So with that, let me pause, and I will bring up the questions. And if you haven't typed any questions in yet, please feel free to do so, and we'll try and tackle as many areas as you can, and I'll have Mario help me with this. Okay, so here's a question related to Sapphire. How do you get your treatment to react and bond with Sapphire? It's a very unresponsive or reactive surface. Mario, do you want to address that?
Yes, Edward, happy to. And that's a very excellent point that the attendee brings up. Sapphire is, in fact, very difficult to bond to, and our SAMP treatments are quite reactive to it and form a covalent bond at the Sapphire surface, which is extremely strong and robust and allows us to functionalize Sapphire that's used in really, really aggressive environments that see chemical exposure, abrasion, and very high temperatures in, say, oil and gas scenarios. These are very, very simple to apply technologies. They actually are extremely reactive, so no cure is required. They can be applied via a dipping process, via a spray process in certain cases. In some cases, they can even be wipe applied for larger Sapphire parts. So hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, good. Thanks, Mario. We have a question relating to any activity on surface treatment of solar cells. Again, Mario, do you want to take that?
So yes and no. We can functionalize solar cells. The main issue with functionalizing solar cells, and this kind of plays hand in hand with the slide we're showing some of the applications we don't work on. It's similar to treating the glass on an exterior of a building. The treatments are UV sensitive, so they will last maybe a few weeks, a few months before the UV degrades the coating and it needs to be reapplied. So yes, we can successfully functionalize solar, but reapplication would be required for anything requiring longevity or more than temporary usage.
Yeah, it's a question we get asked a lot. Of hot topic is obviously the solar panels degrade because of dust building up on them, etc. So there's a lot of maintenance required in that. It's the challenge, as Mario said, with organic coatings is over time that UV is going to damage it. So if you have a preventative maintenance kind of program where you can reapply, and then you could get more efficiency out of that. All right, we have another question. I'm going to give this one again to you, Mario. Adhesion promotion has many applications in semiconductor manufacturing. Any work in this area?
Yeah, so we definitely have crossover there. I would say a majority of our adhesion promotion business is actually within the chip packaging and semiconductor arena. And we do cover that a bit more in depth. We did a webinar on adhesion promotion earlier in this webinar series. So that is also listed on our website under the adhesion promotion page. Feel free to reach out directly to me to ask about the application you're thinking of, and we definitely do work there, and have found success there. So please reach out.
Okay. All right. There's a question: how do we compare to vacuum deposition processes? And I'm assuming the question relates to performance and durability. And again, Mary, you want to tackle that?
Sure. So in terms of application, our application is simpler since it can be spray applied, wipe applied, or dip applied. So it can be done in line and in significantly larger batches than vacuum deposition is typically done. For the applications we mentioned that are a good fit, our technology outperforms many of the vacuum deposition options that are available. In some cases, there are no vacuum deposition options available. But then in cases where, say, sunglasses, display screens, outdoor glass, those are some of the areas where, as Edward mentioned, vacuum deposition is a good solution there. It fits the need, and maybe vacuum deposition for some of those applications is a better fit.
Yeah, and I think some of the times, we win business where, people want ease of application, and so they don't want to have a vacuum chamber, and they don't want whatever the vacuum chamber is coating to cover the whole thing, and so masking. So we have a number of customers where they can very easily wipe apply to a specific area, and that becomes a much easier process for them to do, because obviously they can do it exactly how they want it, and they don't have to do it in a time-consuming batch process that basically is using quite expensive equipment as well. So
that's an excellent point, Edward. Just to touch on that, for one of the great applications in optics is the treatment of sensors, in particular ones that are utilizing sapphire substrates. And we have customers who have a completed device and they want to treat only the sapphire portion of the device. And now putting that entire device in a vacuum chamber would just be entirely unfeasible, but we're able to selectively coat only that piece of sapphire using our processes.
Okay. And yeah, there's a question about display screens, and so yeah, that's an area that we don't really focus on. There are a number of alternatives out there, and it's not kind of something that we tend to have these very thin treatments, and so when you look at several thousand cycles of abrasion of steel wool and that type of stuff, it's that's usually not a good fit for us. So it's not an area that we've kind of focused on. All right. I believe that's all the questions we have. So thank you for joining us today. We will be sending out a link or an email to all registrants that will contain a link to this presentation, a link to the recording of the webinar, as well as contact information if you have any questions for us. So I hope that this was informative, and hopefully we can help you solve any optical issues or needs that you have. And thank you for joining us today. And with that, I will end the webinar. Thank you.